Hey, it's Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach. It's Real Talk Thursday, and I'm going to talk about sex today. I said it out loud. I'm going to talk about sex. Before I continue, y'all can go get your wife and say, Rick is talking about sex today. And so, because I know your ears just perked up, but it's true. Anytime we mention the sex word, man, the room clears, or people do, the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. So anyway, go ahead and dig your heels in, and let's get right down to it. Man, I just came back from Las Vegas, and so, man, that's everywhere. If you've ever been to Vegas walking down the street, man, there's these little cards on the ground, and they even hand them to you. And, man, they're not baseball players, I'm going to tell you, because when I looked at one, I've never seen a baseball player look like that. That's for sure. I'm just being honest with you. But, it's all over the place. I mean, you're talking prostitution. What's the oldest profession known to man? It's prostitution. Let's be honest with you. But it's funny because even in rooms of addiction, man, we're talking about alcoholism. We're talking drug addiction. You go around that room and everybody's like, my name is so-and-so. I'm an alcoholic. My name is so-and-so. I'm a drug addict, man. And all of a sudden, homeboy says sex. And everybody turns and looks like, man, I think homeboy just said sex. He's addicted to sex. Or it could be a female. And here's the problem, is that nobody wants to talk about it, but it's destroying homes. It is. Pornography is destroying homes, prostitution, adultery. It is what it is, and it's time we talk about it. And so that's why I said it in the beginning. So if you didn't want to hear it, you can leave the room and turn it off now. But that's what we're going to talk about, but from the biblical standpoint. So I prayed to God to say, hey, let me do this justice. But the only way to do it justice is read out of the book of John. So let's start with that. So listen. John chapter 8, then they went in their own home, but Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. At dawn he appeared again in the temple courts, where all the people gathered round him. He sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such a woman. Now, what do you say? They were using this question as a trap in order to have a basis for accusing him. But Jesus bent down. He started to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and he said to them, If any one of you is without sin, let him be the first to throw the stone at her. Again, he stooped down, he wrote on the ground. At this point, those who heard began to go away one at a time. The older ones first, until only Jesus was left with the woman standing there. Jesus straightened up and he asked her, Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you? No one, sir, she said. Then neither do I condemn you. Jesus declared, Go now and leave your life of sin. Let me tell you right there, that's real talk, and that will speak. Because let me break it to you, man, sin is a sin is a sin. It's all level at the foot of the cross. We can write it any way we want, but that is also, hey, judging, gossip, you name it, it all falls in line. That is why when they brought the woman to Jesus, they were the only two left standing, because everyone's got sin in their life. But in that topic in particular, I had a guy a while back, and he came to me, and he said, man, I'd like to talk to you, but I was struggled with pornography. I was addicted to pornography. And I said, brother, man, I want to sit down. I want to visit with you, because that is an area of our ministry that we really need to tap into and be able to help a lot of people. And so, maybe that's not my thing that I struggle with. But again, I have my own demons I struggle with, and we all do. And so you can sit there all day long and point out homeboy or homegirl and say, hey, man, did you hear what they said? But the fact is, you can't do that, man. When you got to stand before God and look him in the face, you're going to be held accountable just like they are. And so we need to stop doing that. But let me tell you, if that's something you struggle with, and here's the problem, man, it's destroying marriages, it's destroying homes, relationships. Again, I just came back from a city they call what do they call it? The Sin City, they call it. But you know what? You can say that all you want. Sin's in every city. It's around the world. And so, again, that doesn't stand. But, it's time we address this too publicly. It doesn't have to be plastered all over the place. But, again, it's an addiction that ranks up there with everything else. And when Satan says, and God talks about, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy, man, we're talking about alcohol. We're talking about drugs. We're talking about sex. you name it, it's doing it. And so it's time that we, get on board and address these issues also, but in a professional and a loving way. Hey, it's Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach. It's been Real Talk Thursday. Bam! I hope you're still sitting there listening.